We have the entire Persona collaboration coming all at once this week, which is pretty big. There's a lot of decisions to be made, and I'm going to help you make those decisions, and I'm going to help myself make a decision because my plan for a little bit was to pull for Joker, and now I'm not so sure. So let's start by talking about his kit, and then we'll get into whether you and I should pull. We're going to talk pros, we're going to talk cons, but if you want to skip around to any specific part of the video, feel free to do so. Just use the chapters that are in the video bar below. This is an interesting video because I have so many pros listed for Joker and not that many cons, but I'm still not sure if I'm going to be pulling for him. So let's start with the pros because I'm a pro, and the first one I want to talk about is high accuracy because Joker has a high luck stat, but he's also got an accuracy passive, which I've included in his stat box, and that is very appealing for the global meta because of all the evasion that we have going around right now. Now, you still might need to build some accuracy with him, with his gear, with his espers, and that's really important to think about when you don't necessarily have access to a 100% hit attack, except for Joker does. He has it on his limit burst. It's only one use, but that's multiple ways that he can hit enemies. Joker also has decent mobility and great agility. His mobility is just 3 move, but he has 2 jump, and that's very useful for navigating a map. Not only that, he has a skill that lets him move to target panel when he attacks somebody that has a height range of 3, so that's a big jump to be able to get up onto any ledge and actually go and attack somebody. It's also very good for PvE, just for farming, and he has a big wide AoE attack as well that would be really good for PvE. So for a new player just starting the game, those are some pretty good reasons to pull him. Another neat thing about Joker is his survivability, and a piece of that is that he has a AoE buff that he can use. It's instant cast, and it provides protect for all of your allies, including himself. That's a really good skill to have, AoE, and to be able to give to other people. So really love to see that. And in terms of his survivability, the big thing with Joker is the amount of AoE resistance he has, and then the physical barrier that he can provide, the protect that he can provide, that he can actually survive with some decent resistances too, all sorts of types of damage, as long as it stays AoE, because if he actually takes single target damage, then he's not going to be quite as powerful. The AoE resist is a very big part of his kit, and you can't underrate it because he doesn't have any innate spirit or defense, and he doesn't have the most amazing resist. They're not bad though, he has good resist, but they're nothing special that he's going to get into Esther levels of resistance. So really, it's all the survivability that he has really puts him over the top when you combine it with the AoE resist. Joker also has multiple attack types, so we have the slash, the missile, both on his main kit, both on his sub kits, and then a non-type attack as his job level 25 skill. So there's a lot of different options. He doesn't have any resist penetrations, but he can just switch what type of attack he's using, and that's very powerful too. So that's definitely good to see on any kit. There's lots of utility pieces as well, the defense break, the barrier break, and the non-typed attack, all these things, these little utility pieces. There's also the counter chance reduction, which is just keeps becoming more and more my favorite utility skill in the game. Love to see it. We already talked about the 100% hit LB, and then the final thing for the pros, status effects, because he has them not only on his main job, but also on all of his sub jobs. So there's lots of options for him. If you want to tune his skills, you can make sure that he's trying to apply status effects to people and take them out of the fight. So like I said, not that many cons for Joker. He does lack attack type penetrations, and that's important when you come up against a tank that has both slash and missile resistance, and that's where his job level 25 skill is going to be a very big deal. He also has no innate defense and spirit, and we talked about that a little bit, but it does mean you're building from zero, and there's a lot of units that have that innate defense and spirit that you can kind of underrate, but it's there. It's really important, especially if we find that you have to equip some accuracy gear on him. Maybe you can have an aim weapon. I don't know. We're gonna have to test that out, but it is something to consider. And then finally, he doesn't do anything unfair, and it's kind of a weird thing to say on the cons section, but there's no, immortal spirit re-raise. He doesn't have any like crazy like AP generation that he can just fire off a bunch of attacks or strip people's re-raise or or courage. There's just nothing there that is going to make him and some sort of Elena type unit, and that might turn people off. I don't think that it's a huge deal breaker, but it is important that he's just a fair unit. He's, you know, gonna go down easily to single target attacks. He's not going to beat a team by himself, but he is gonna survive for a long time because he's got that AoE resist. He's got hate down, so he's good. He's really good. He's just not special. All right, I've got a comparison on the screen for you, and I've chosen Prompto and Dwayne, which might seem kind of weird, but Joker's kind of a combination of both of them in a certain way. The range aspect of Prompto, but then the tanky aspect of Dwayne. Now, both of those units will do their separate things a little bit better, but Joker's gonna meet in the middle and have a higher power than Prompto does, but have more range and utility than Dwayne does. So he also is going to just work really well with both of these units. They're going to play off of each other and help each other out. But when you take a look at the stats, you can see where Joker really excels in terms of having a pretty decent agility, but then still having 501 attack. He has an attack buff on his kit as well. The fact that he has the mobility, the high accuracy compared to both of them, if you look at their accuracies, and then that AoE resist baked right into the kit. The 15 slash resist is a good starting point, and the 3,869 HP is pretty good. Now, it's not on Dwayne levels, it's not on Terra levels either, but it's still like a pretty high amount of HP for a DPS unit, especially one that has built-in ways to reduce incoming damage. I do briefly want to talk about Terra because she actually reminds me of Joker as well, just in the fact that these are DPS units that have a ton of survivability, and I actually do think that Joker pales in comparison to Terra because Terra also has things like AoE resist baked into her kit. She has a physical barrier, and then she has something that he doesn't, which is Immortal Spirit. She has innate defense and innate spirit and ways to raise those through her passives. So I think that if you have Terra or you fight against Terra and you see how tanky she can be, how many hits it takes to take her down, Joker is going to be weaker than that. However, there are situations where he could be close to being as tanky, but you're gonna notice things like having 700 less HP. You're gonna notice things, especially with single target attacks. It's the AoE attacks where Joker really excels, and the fact that he has a buff that gives him a chance to be targeted down, which will keep him out of the range or out of the eyes of your opponents. And as long as he's not going, you know, solo across a map so that the opponent's only choice is to attack Joker, then he's gonna be really safe in some group up fights where the AoEs are coming at you. Joker is a really solid unit. He just doesn't do anything spectacular. I think that he needs to be pulled on a dark heavy account because you're going to want to take advantage of the dark power-ups from VCs, from master abilities, so that you can get those different attack types powered up, his missile, his slash attack, and so that you can raise his HP as much as possible. So I think Joker is going to be fantastic against AoE attacks, but those single target attacks are really going to roast him, especially ones from Elena, because he doesn't have any spirit or magic barriers, and I think that if she gets a chance to attack him with a single target attack, then she is going to be able to one-shot him, and even with AoEs, I think that he's going to have a tough time. I think Joker can be safely skipped if you have your eye on Astrius or Little Leela Beautiful Blade, but again, Little Leela is going to pair really well with Joker, so you might want to actually get both of them. It's just really tricky because there's so many decisions coming up that you can't necessarily go for everybody. So while some players might have a pretty clear direction they're going in, other players are going to have to make some really hard decisions, and if you need help with that, just comment down below, and maybe if you give me your specific scenario, I can help you out. I myself am still considering what I'm going to do for this banner. I'm kind of leaning towards pulling Joker because I do think that he's really good. I also think that if I pull him, then I'm just going to go straight for Little Leela as well, and if that helps you, then you know, you can think about that for yourself. But if I do pull for Joker, it's going to happen on Wednesday night. It's going to be streamed here on YouTube, so make sure to check that out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe so that you can support the channel and me. I appreciate it, and we'll see you all in the next video.